Such a rocking tune, you know.
Let me see if I can text while I'm talking. I'll find out where he is. Okay, hey, Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports on the Rant Radio Network. Hey, the clock's even going down. I don't know how much time I have. Not that I ever looked at. I feel weird looking at it. No, I want it down out here in front of me. Let's move the TV over there.
Is that what you're used to, Coach Mike?
No, I'm not. When I hear music, I've just trained me. When I hear the music starting to play, I can wrap up because you had 20 seconds there. That's easy.
Well, it's becoming a habit.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, sir.
Kids in Sports here. Coach Mike at kidsinsports.com is my email address, not yours. It's mine. The website is kidsinsports.com. KIDZ. And as the NancySports.com, make sure you check that out. Especially if you're a high school or college baseball coach or softball coach. I've got a special on the website for lineup cards for your seasons because your seasons are pretty well defined. You're only going to play a certain number of games. And I know schools never have money, supposedly, in most cases. So I try to help out a little bit.
Let's be fair, Mike. Rarely have money.
You know, it's funny. Some do and some don't. And why is it that some do and some don't? I mean, when we choose how to run school systems, man, we could get into all sorts of political stuff that, I choose not to do on the show. But, I get my soapbox out every now and then. And I guess the biggest problem I have, same thing with the corporate. I'm a Republican or a Republican or something like that, but no, I am all for free enterprise. I'm all for big business and everything like that. But the one time where I will say I don't agree with it is, you got whether it's a large corporation or whether it's a school system or whatever, is when you're losing money, laying people off, cutting back, don't have the money to pay for things that should be paid for, and yet you're taking a huge bonus on top of your salary. You already got a pretty good salary, which you probably deserve. If you're running that organization, you've probably worked really hard to get there, okay? And you've got a lot of education or a lot of knowledge or a lot of experience in that field, so you probably deserve that part of it. But as far as the bonus goes, I guess it's something the business needs to learn this from sports. If you had incentive in your contract, if you're laying off people, if you're losing money, you shouldn't be getting a bonus. What are you getting a bonus for?
Yeah. Well, some of those people are getting fired too.
But they should be. I'm sorry. If they're losing money, and I guess there for a while, maybe the argument was, we lost less money than we would have because of this guy. Okay. You're still losing money. If you're losing money, I would not feel comfortable taking that bonus. And I'm serious. And people can laugh. Oh, yeah. Do we like it? Sure. I like money.
So the needle's pointing a little bit more towards business.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm all for free internet. I think the government needs to get its hand out of a lot of our lives. And I understand there's got to be a certain amount of rules and regulations, but we go way overboard. And it affects our kids. And that's why I'll say that on Kids in Sports. When I see, I'm a high school coach, and I see that my girls don't have a batting cage. We're trying to raise money for a batting cage. I get very little budget help. I get a little bit each year for the team to cover, like the minimal things. Like if I even my tournaments. So for some, I might have to raise some of that money.
Well, let me ask you something. How are you guys doing in terms of winning, losing games?
Well, we've won more than we won a couple of years before I came there, right?
but you just started the season though, right?
Well, our season doesn't start till spring.
Okay.
I'm just doing a 6-period class right now.
Because I'm gonna throw something out here.
Sure, that's good.
Let me ask you something.
Did I get everything to get? I want to make sure the audience knows. Oh, we didn't give them a phone number.
Yeah, you didn't
give
him an intro.
Give them a phone number.
Give us a call 855-693-4897. That's 855-693-4897. Give us a question.
Well, no. The thing is, the topic today we're supposed to have a guest come in. I think he's coming in. Is what if you're not good enough to make the team? What if you're not good enough? And I've got a story about when I wasn't good enough. So, I'm lucky I'm good enough to make this team. But anyway, back to where we're at.
Would you find that the schools that are doing better in terms of winning and losing games are better funded? Like the better teams historically, those schools historically have better funding.
I would tend to say yes. I don't have exact figures that I can
Well,
pull
yeah,
up right now.
shooting off the hip. Shooting off
But
the hip.
shooting off the hip, I would tend to say most part. Not always. And when you're, let's talk to. There's two different families here. Let's say, or two different things: high school and college.
Schools of thought, maybe.
Well, no, two different. No, I mean two different. There's two different
Oh, I
worlds.
see.
Two
I
different
see.
worlds. There's the high school world. There's the college world. In the high school world, it goes back to the sort of thing: the rich tend to stay rich, the poor tend, and that sort of happens in sports too. Is that a financial thing largely? Possibly. A lot of it is. A lot of it is the area around the demographics of the area around it. Unfortunately, today you have more people probably than ever before moving for sports reasons, which CIF tries to discourage. I try to discourage you. You shouldn't be changing high schools just for sports. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that last week a
We've
little
talked
bit.
about that. We've talked about that a number of times. We shouldn't be changing high schools just for sports. It happens all the time. Now, is there a time when you might consider that if you're moving from one school district that is really not doing the job academically as well, and to go to another school that might be better academically and sports-wise, then that's a little different ballgame. But there's a lot of parents that will go to. So there's certain schools that they'll go to because the same thing like with travel ball. They feel if they're at that school, their kid's going to get that scholarship, or that's the team that we don't want to be on a losing team. And now that part happens a lot. I don't want to be on this team because it's a loser. And
Yeah, that could go along with the school.
well,
Like
yes
you say,
and no.
I don't want to go to that school because that school's historically been a bad.
But here's the thing: how do you know you're not going to be the player that might turn that around?
Well, or the team.
And I'll give you an example. My first coaching job, I was at a private high school, at Brethren Christian, down in Huntington Beach, and they had just moved. We were D5 at that time. They ended up, I think they're D6 now. They added some more divisions, but my first year, we were mercied 15 out of 19 times. I had 3 kids that knew how to pitch.
Mercied?
Mercy means run rule. In other words, I got 10 runs or more by the 5th inning.
Oh,
Okay.
means you stopped the game.
We were getting clobbered. Yeah, we were getting, and we got the only win I got that first year. One AD saw our scores and called my AD and said, "Would you like to play our JV?" And she said, "We'd love to." And that was our only win. And the reality was, I sort of had a JV team. I had 2 seniors, no juniors, 1 sophomore, and 8 freshmen on that team. So in all reality, it more or less was a JV team if you were looking at a bigger school. Okay. I had 3 kids that knew how to pitch, but none of them were great pitchers in that regard. They weren't just pitchers, and they weren't travel ball pitchers or anything like that. The 3rd year I was there, I got a travel ball pitcher in. I got a real pitcher, a super pitcher. And she ended up going on to 4 years at Chapman and everything else. And, what a difference. Nobody, the 3rd year, we got better the 2nd year, but the 3rd year, nobody mercied us. Nobody.
And how was your winning?
We won more games. We only won 3 games, but we lost 1-0, 6-0, 2-0.
So that one player made the difference.
In softball, a pitcher can make a huge difference. And so again, especially if you're a pitcher, but any sport, look at any basketball, anything else, you might be a player that's going to start turning things around. And because there are, teenagers are very sensitive about their self-esteem, as we know, in a lot of ways. And some of that is healthy and some of it isn't. But part of that is I don't want to be on a losing team, I don't want to be. And I don't want to play on that team. They won't play because not because they don't like the coach. Sometimes you hear, well, they don't like this coach. They don't want to play for that coach. And I've had some don't want to play for me. And it used to bother me, but then I found out that some of these best winning coaches, there were people didn't want to play for them either.
Well, wouldn't you say the message at that point? I mean, we see a lot of movies, especially a lot of sport movies, that get into a team that's not doing so well, but it shows that somebody has enough heart and soul to get out there and work on it and do better and get better and
That's right.
get what they need.
And that's what sports is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the education of it. Well, and let's look at this. Let's pick 2 of the we can pick 2 or 3 of the most popular teams in sports history looking by attendance. Look at professional teams by attendance. Okay?
Number 1.
Which one comes to mind? Which one?
Well, actually, number 3.
Which one would you think first?
By attendance.
By the most popular team out there, probably by attendance. They may not be the number 1 in attendance overall, but they're close. And they might have been ahead sometimes.
I'd have to say.
In what type of sport?
Doesn't matter.
Name it.
It doesn't matter.
I'm thinking baseball. I'll make it easy for you. Baseball.
Winning
Well,
or
I'm-
losing
I'm-
or just period?
I'm thinking Manchester United.
That's not a baseball team.
No, I know.
It's
but
a soccer team.
You,
but aren't
you
they
asked,
pretty good?
You asked it
They don't-
in
they
terms
don't-
of attendance.
Soccer's not a sport. You
No,
can't
but I'm
wait.
talking about a losing team.
It's a competition.
I'm talking
right?
about a team losing.
Oh, losing.
Chicago Cubs.
Chicago Cubs. See, number 1 comes to mind. Number
Really?
1 for years. When's the last time they won a pennant?
68.
Oh, right. I don't think. No,
Are you
you go
guessing
look at
at
it.
that?
You go look it up right here. 19.
Is that a guess?
1969.
Wow.
The
I'm a good
Chicago.
guesser.
No, they didn't win it. They blew it. They choked it. The Chicago Cubs were 8 games ahead of the Mets in August, and they blew it. Like the Dodgers are working on blowing this one right now. They're
Hey, don't jinx it, Coach Mike. Don't jinx it.
Oh,
But crank call.
Craig. They no seriously. 1969. Chicago Cubs were 8 games ahead of the Mets. There's the other popular team, the Mets. 1960 was their first year.
So these are
62
losing teams, you're
They're
saying?
losing teams, but yet their fans are there every day. There's diehard
Well,
fans. The
who's
stadiums
the-
are full.
The curse of the Bambino.
I was gonna say
the
that-
White Sox,
No, it's Boston. It's Red Sox.
Red Sox. I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say that sounds a little like the Dallas Cowboy fans.
Oh,
Hey, we
but
got 5.
they got some wins. I mean, the Cowboys have won some Super Bowls.
We got some
Cubs,
Super
The
Bowls.
Cubs haven't won. I think you go back. I think the Cubs haven't won a pennant or series since the 20s or something like that.
You're kidding me.
Check it out. I mean, a long time. Boston. Now you can't. I wouldn't refer to them because they're still a winning program. They may not have got to the World Series in all those years, or won to, but they were still winning. They were still competitive most years. So, Coach Mike, Kids in Sports, my co-host Alex Alanese. We'll be back after these messages.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmart, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, 2 things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number 1 tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number 1. There's only number 1. There's only number 1.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. Free quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home, at AJR and Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR and Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.agrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español.
I'm on the right side. I gotta make sure I look good here, you know. Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports on the Rant Radio Network with my host Alex Alanese, and our main topic today is going to be: what if you don't make the team? What if you're not good enough? What if your kid isn't good enough to make the team? Call us 855-693-4897 or 855-969-RANT. Give us a call and tell us your story. I'm going to tell mine a little bit. There was a time where I didn't make a team. And I've shared my daughter's story a couple times, and a learning lesson for Dad on that. But today I'll share my story. I've embarrassed her enough. You know, she's used to it by now. Nobody was. I think we grow to a point we don't want to hear our negatives. You know, same thing in our personal lives. We don't want people airing our dirty laundry. But there's some of that stuff that we can learn from. So I want to get that. But let's get back to where we're at. Kids don't want to play on losing teams.
Well, of course not.
Nobody. I mean, if you said out there, do I want to play for a losing? You have a choice to play on two teams. You know, which one would you want to play on? And I think, you know, if you want to play, be a Yankee or a Cub. You know, now there's some people that say Cubs just because they hate the Yankees, but.
Well, this kind of brings to mind, Coach Davis, this brings to mind some of the guests that we've had on the show.
Right.
And I've had a great deal of respect for them because they showed an attitude that it really didn't matter what team you're on.
That's right.
It's about how hard you're trying, what you're doing about it, what kind of practice how much practice you're doing, the will and the effort to do what you need to do out in the field.
Well, and there's something, you know, there's some of these things that parents are missing educational opportunity, life lessons for our kids, for their kids, by worrying about whether they're on that team, worrying about whether they're going to get that scholarship or not. And there's nothing wrong with getting a scholarship. Believe me, hey, that'd be great, okay? But number one, there's times that you can, if you're good enough, you can still get that scholarship even if you're on a lousy team. That doesn't mean you're going to guaranteed, and they're worried about that. If you're doing your homework and doing what you're supposed to do, that coach will still find out. There's still some parents think, "Oh, if my kid's good enough, they're so good, coach is going to find them." That's not always the case, okay? And you could even be on a winning team somewhere. If you have a high school coach, for example, I see a lot of high school coaches. Well, I won't say a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. We always see the negative examples tend to show up. So some high school coaches, in my opinion, do not do their job fully. Now, their side, they might say, well, that's not part of my job. But I'll give you an example. Back when I was at Brethren, Jennifer Winford one year had a 21 strikeout game, okay? We beat this one school, 3-0, I forgot what it was, 4-0. She struck out 21 batters. They had one batter each base. It was one short of a perfect game because I think we had one error, or I think it was an error where somebody got on base. But I think it was no-hitter. 21 strikeouts, though. And when I called the score into the newspaper, that's one of the things high school coaches do. They ask you to do is, call in the scores. You're not, I guess depending on the school, it's not your job requirement. I sort of feel it is. I'm trying to get my kids some publicity, right? Get a little bit of press. But when I called the paper, I said, no, this will go in CIF. And the guy, luckily, I got a guy that knew what he was doing, that reporter, and he said, no, you need to call CIF and inform them of this, because that's a pretty big thing. 21 strikeouts, in a game. There's 21 outs in a normal 7-inning softball game.
Now you're saying that you're reporting this information to the newspaper?
Call in the news, whatever your local paper is. In our case, generally I call the Orange County Register and the LA Times.
Is that just common practice?
It's become pretty much common practice for the home team. Generally, it's the home team that should call it in.
So there's a column somewhere that you know. If
Oh yeah,
you're
there's all the
interested.
scores. Actually, you can do it, and with the internet now, you can go on certain websites. Max Preps is a good one. I can put all the information right there, and they got a little button I can click, and it'll send it to the other papers. But you may not always get the same. It may not get in the paper necessarily that way. A lot of times they might put the score, and they would rather have you call them because they're going to ask you, who did this, who did what. No, the papers are really good about putting in those kids that did something.
So does it have stats and standings and all that stuff?
Oh
in
yeah, they'll have the league standings and stuff like that. So, but anyway, luckily this guy told me that, so I called CIF, found out what I needed to do. I had to take the score, make a copy of the score sheet, or actually I think I have to send him the original. I forget, but anyway, I had to get I think I got a copy of it, had it signed by the principal and the school and everything else, and then submit that to CIF, and then they would put that in the record books. Well, earlier that season, there was a girl from another school out towards San Bernardino that had a 21 strikeout game. She's not in the record books. So that tells me her coach did not submit that.
Probably just didn't know about it.
Maybe didn't know or whatever. So I think this is something that could be out. Some coaches, especially there are probably some schools will have maybe they don't want walk-on coaches. So they'll say, okay, what teacher is most qualified to take this position? So they may get a teacher that knows something about softball but doesn't know the game like most of your travel coaches or top high school coaches.
Well, the more and more I come on the show, Coach, the more and more I'm thinking, wow, this is really involved. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to
so
it.
much to it.
There's a lot to it, and I would think it would take years to really be proficient in what you do.
To a degree, yes. I think it's anything in life. You're going to be good at what you have to make it. You can't just walk in. We all have more talent in certain areas. Each one of us is different. Each one of us has gifts. Okay, but as far as becoming an expert or becoming very knowledgeable, and just like you with real estate. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did you just wake up one morning and you knew all this stuff? No, you
absolutely not. I made a lot of mistakes on the way. Yeah,
there you go.
Not. It took me a lot of time.
See, and the same thing happens with playing softball, basketball, football, anything else. And the kids are going to make the mistakes out there. Okay. Now get back to your original question. You said, does money make the difference with the team, or the winning teams? Does money make the difference there? So in the high school area, I'm sure you can find some winning teams that don't have a lot of money. Okay. In the college arena, I'd say it's more likely that the winning teams are the ones that have the money. Although they say that there's a lot of Division I football programs that are broke or close to it.
Do you see a push though about the schools that have a little bit more money to be better academically, so that causes the better players to go to the better schools?
I haven't really looked at it in that regard. Now, there are some good websites that you can check to. What's that one? It's Great Schools or something. Great Schools, Top School. My wife told me about it one time. There's a couple of websites that sort of rank the schools.
Well, it's because me being a layman,
right.
I went to junior college. Don't know much about that. I wasn't in sports. I was more like the band guy, right?
Right.
And that's just the assumption. The assumption is that the schools that have the money to do it are going to be better academically. So they're raising the bar academically, causing those better players to try and go to those schools.
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
I mean, I could be totally wrong about that.
I think there are a lot of those schools. When you hear them, they talk about activity. And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of push to be a distinguished school or whatever. As long this may be something I'm going to have to do some more homework on. Is because we hear about the dumbing down of America, and I've seen that in the workforce. When I see kids. Now, I say kids now because I'm such an old fart, but when I see these young people that I work with, for example, that have a hard time counting change, if the cash register doesn't tell them how much change to give you, they don't know how to do it. Okay? I'm serious. There's a lot of them out there. In my first job, I got a job as a carryout at A.J. Bayless Grocery Market in Phoenix. years ago. And I started, I think it was $1.20 an hour, $1.36 an hour, something like that. And after I was there, I think a little over a year, maybe 2 years, I had expanded. I got up to a junior clerk. And so by that time, I think it was up to about $3 an hour, $3.50 an hour, something like that. I would still want more. But one thing you had to do, you go to cashiers, they send you to cashiers school. And you had, of course, the old-fashioned registers then, but you had to start at a penny, okay? And these you had to push the buttons all the way down. You still do that on a computer. You still got to push the buttons, right? But you'd push a penny.
Well, Coach David, it's running a card now.
Well, no.
You know what I mean? You run the card through, you're not pushing anything, really.
Yeah, no, you still got to swipe the card, but that's after you push the buttons to tell the computer what's there. So you still do it. You had to, but we had,
and you're scanning the products.
we had to go, well, that's different now. That's a little bit, we had to go a penny, ding, 2 cents, ding, 3 cents, ding, all the way up to $1 and back down with no mistakes. And you had to know to count change. When's the last time you've been at a store and let's say you bought something for $3.25, you gave them a $5 bill. When's the last time they gave you the quarter, said $3.25, $4, and $1 is $5?
Yeah, no, never.
Never.
Matter of fact, they usually just hand it to you. That happened to me at Cerritos Mall this weekend. I bought a balloon for my daughter. It was like $10, I think. They're the kind of refillable ones.
Right.
And I didn't have any change. All I had was a $100 bill. So I said, "Can you change this for me?" Well, she hands me. It was $10.
She changed it to a 20.
Well, she hands me back $70.
Okay.
Okay. And I've got other money in my hand, so I hand it to my wife. And I go, "Here, do me a favor, count this." And I'm lucky I did that because normally I would have just put it back with the rest of my money and just clipped it on my money clip. But she counted it. She goes, "No, there's only 70 here." So that
how much did you spend?
Because she didn't count it back to me.
How much did you spend?
$10.
$10. So you need another 20 there.
Well, yeah, exactly. So she didn't count it back to me. She just handed it to me.
So they don't realize. They think there's some people, some young people that seem to have the edge. Oh, why are you? I know it's this amount, blah blah blah. But there's a reason that procedure was instituted years ago, is to help correct those kind of, because it's very easy to think you have an extra bill there and you don't. So if I'm counting your change back, now I know that I didn't have the right amount of change. And it's not because I'm stupid. It's because I'm going 100%.
It's just an error.
It's an error.
Yeah, it's just an error.
It's not a matter of being stupid. But they look at, I'm not stupid. I know how much I'm giving you. But some of them don't.
Well, then now you have the individuals, because I used to work in retail back in the 90s. You have the individuals that now are doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
That they
you've always
purposely,
you've always said that.
Let's not call them what they are, But
yeah, you've always said. But and you brought up another thing. The scanning of the stuff adds another whole realm, because now they get sort of spoiled. The cashiers get sort of spoiled because all they go to do. I mean, when we had a $100 order today, the $100 nothing grocery. When we had a $100 order back in the late '60s, you had a lady who would have 3 or 4 shopping carts. I mean, that took a lot of ringing. Now they can bring that out. They're done,
They're done, yeah.
Let's go take a commercial break. Coach Mike, Alex Alanese, Kids in Sports, Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in a minute.
Nurses Life Express provides unique apparel for all the hardworking nurses that wear many hats. It's apparel that expresses nurses' amazing, humorous, and caring personalities. After all, nurses are as influential as their united goal to help others. Nursing's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. For more information, please call 562-270-4312 or visit their website at www.nurselife.com. www.nurselyfe.com. Nurseslife.com, where nurses' lives are expressed.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Swing it.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Are
you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what would make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
Stall. Coach Mike. Kids and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. Hey, put your cell phone away. I'm going to make you run some laps.
Sorry about that. My car's being worked on, and the guy just happens to call me at the wrong moment, you know.
What'd you do to your car now?
You know, it's funny. My wife had she was driving her car, and she said there was a little noise coming out from the back end, so I drove the car. I thought it was the brakes. I thought it probably needed new brake pads in the back. So I took it in, and this is probably about 6 months ago. Well, when I took it in, the guy said, no, it's not the brakes. It was some kind of seal or bearing or something in the back there. So they changed it. I want to say it was about $150, something like that, which, you know, it's like every time I show up there, it's $150. It doesn't matter what it is. And but he said, but he said that there was a piece on it that they didn't have in stock, and so the lights were going to be on for the ABS. I guess it's an ABS sensor that was part of it was messed up. So, you know, I didn't think about it. I kind of forgot about it because that's not my car, and you know, my wife didn't remind me that the lights were on in there, so I didn't think about it. Well, now I drove the car to go get it washed. And I'm looking at the lights, and I forgot all about this. So I took it back in. So they had to find the part. I mean, it was a difficult part to find.
$150, so.
Actually, it was $45. So that's kind of a nice thing. And the funny thing is, they had it all taken apart. You know, on the back end. So.
Anyway, let's get back to winning and losing, and we don't want to be a loser, but yet there's more lessons learned by losing. But there's also more opportunity for success in a way on a losing team, and let me clarify that, because if you all coach, you're crazy, and one person usually can't make that beater. Yeah, there's a lot of good athletes on poor teams. I love the attitude of an athlete like that, like Jennifer was, and I brag about her sometimes. I love it because, you know, if a kid made an error, we had a lot of errors, unfortunately. We had kids that didn't do travel ball. They were trying. And if they made, Jennifer is usually the first one to go to them and say, hey, come on, shake it off. We're going to get it. So when you take a team that's struggling like that, when you get a win, that win tastes a lot better, you know?
It's redemption.
It's it's like you're being rewarded for the hard work. If you talk to a lot of coaches out there, there are coaches that will not coach if they can't be coaching the elite team, and they've earned that, and that's great. But yet when I hear things in the off season or other times, it's usually those coaches that are under the most stress. It's those coaches that are getting the most grief from the parents and stuff like that, you know, because the expectations are so high. And so
when then you have a difference of opinion as to how it's being run.
And everybody knows.
And, you know, they need to step back away from that, I think. I mean, that's why you have a coach.
That's why you have the coach. But to me, the same thing, I look at, you know, with players, are you a big fish in a little pond, or are you a little fish in a big pond? Okay? When my daughter went to Santa Fe Springs, I think her freshman year, they had like 50 kids trying out for softball. There was like 15 spots open. Okay? So when you hear these players, you know, you go to a Mater Dei, you go to a Foothill, you go to Pacifica, there's going to be lots of kids trying out for a few spots. Okay? There's pretty decent players that don't make those teams.
And that's the big fish in the little pond.
That's the little fish in the big pond.
The little fish in the big
Those
pond.
are the little fish. That pond.
I lost the analogy.
You got to reverse. You're the little fish. You're 1 out of 50. So you got to be better than if they've got 10 spots open.
I see.
See what I'm saying? So
the Gittins are better if you're the big fish in a little pond.
if you're the big fish in the little pond, boy, you're going to get noticed a little bit more. You're gonna get respect a little bit more. Now, can you get a wrong impression? Sure, there's sometimes the player, oh, look at me, I'm so and then but you wouldn't have made this team over here. We get so caught up in all that stuff. Let's get back to the basics. Get back to why are we playing sports? Okay, it's physical activity, number one. Number two, we are competitive by nature. And like my guest from like one of the first weeks, VJ Stanley said, some of these coaches say, well, you got to do this to be competitive. No, you don't. He says, put a pizza at one end of the court and tell 10, whoever gets there first gets the pizza and see how competitive they can be, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, are you going to –
especially for pizza.
That's right. Are you going to have a kid that says, oh, I'm not going to win, so they don't try?
Speaking of pizza, I think somebody brought breakfast here in the studio.
We got some breakfast?
I can smell it.
Wow.
Is that
next break? I think we're going to be.
Is that coming in on the next break there, Mr. Pantalones?
No Nintendo.
Okay. So anyway, what do we do? What do we do when we don't make the team? What do we do? How do we teach our kids? And I saw a great post on a DisneyFamily.com article by Sue Marquette Poremba. Hope I pronounced that right. When your child doesn't make the team. And she talks about it. Even with 30 kids trying out for 10 spots, her kid felt his chance good. He was also the only kid on the. Let's go back to the beginning. Let me go. My son's first tryout came in 7th grade for the middle school basketball team. Until then, he played regularly in either the rec league or the church league. His specialty was blocking shots because he was tall with long arms. He was also the only kid on his team who could shoot and dribble with either hand. Even with 30 kids trying out for 10 spots, he felt his chances were good. In the end, my son didn't make it. A lot of good kids didn't make it. Still, he questioned himself. He thought he was good at basketball, but apparently wasn't good enough. Would he also fail in other things? Rec leagues ended in 6th grade. There were no spots for him to do. He fell into a funk that affected everything else in his life. Okay? And she goes on to say, not every child will be affected so deeply when not making the team. But here's the thing. Your children can be affected because they want to make the team. The reality are there's only X number of spots on the team. Now, there's another lady out there that I had on my shows a few years back. She wrote a book, Mom's Team, about moms getting more involved. She had a philosophy that I can't say I agree with. I mean, she picked it because youth sports is male-dominated. It's been this way since the beginning of time or whatever, and we need to change that. We need to have like 2 varsity teams at every high school.
I think there's been a little bit of a shift.
But, some of the stuff she wanted to do are not reality. She wanted 2 varsity teams. I said, like an A and a B team. Oh, no, they're 2 equal. That's not going to happen. They're not going to do that.
Well, what's the difference between an A and a B team and
the B team would be you'd have the better players on the A team, lesser players on a B, and she foresaw a scenario where players would either I don't know whether she wanted them to intermingle on a rotating base somehow, but no, there wouldn't be an A or B. They'd be 2 equal teams, and
Well, I mean, would it even be a possibility to have an A and B team?
Probably not in most schools.
So then either scenario would
financially it's an issue. Okay, schools don't have money for 1 team. How are they going to do 2 teams? Okay, but the other thing, and I tried to explain to her, I don't think she understands either, is your elite players, your travel ball players, for example, and your rec ball or non-players. And I'm not saying a rec ball is a non-player, but other kids that haven't played. I get kids that try out that have never played and they want to play softball. Okay. They don't mix usually very well. Now, I've been on teams where I needed some of those kids to have enough bodies out there, and I think I do a pretty good job coaching where they do mix to a degree. But overall, especially the larger school, those kids are not going to mix. Even where you have a JV team, where you have a junior varsity team and a varsity team, the there comes a time, like right now, we're all together for 6th period. We practice all together, and varsity kids, JV kids, doesn't matter. We're all developing for the season. A lot of conditioning. I start more softball stuff here in the next couple weeks. But when they separate, they don't always want to practice together.
Now, just real quick, Coach, isn't that the AB concept, having varsity and junior varsity?
To a degree, it is. She wanted to go farther. She wanted to have 2 varsity
because
teams
you have
more.
You have a lot of kids
you
that
still
aren't
have
playing.
a JV team.
I see.
So to get more kids involved. And I loved her. I loved the idea that she, the purpose behind it was to get more kids involved with sports. Colleges do this with intramurals. When I went to ASU, the one year I was before I bombed out, I played intramural flag football. I was on the Air Force ROTC team, and they actually had a pretty good big program of intramural sports. I wasn't going to be making the football team, but I never played in high school. I'm like, I'm not going to. I would love to play for ASU, but it wasn't going to happen. I'm not that player. And I guess that's one of the big lessons. That's the biggest lessons the sports can teach us. Might be some of the negatives. One is you're not going to make every team you try out for.
Well, how'd they do this weekend anyway, Coach?
We won.
Who'd they play this weekend?
They beat Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
And I was expecting a loss at the end of the game. There was a moment I thought we won. I knew we could beat Wisconsin. We actually, one of the first big wins we had back in the 60s, we didn't get respect, was beating Wisconsin. And everybody said, you can't beat a team from the Big Ten. And Wisconsin came out to Tempe, and we beat them pretty badly. So then they said, that was because it was in the heat, and they weren't used to that. Next year we went back to Wisconsin, beat them worse. Wisconsin, they weren't what they used to be. And they weren't, I agree. They weren't the top of the Big Ten at that time.
Wasn't that your theory about San Francisco?
What's that?
And the Cheeseheads? That once they go back to Wisconsin?
Well, yeah, but that's different. There's a difference there. There's a little difference there.
Why are we bringing up all that old stuff?
That's not in September. That's I'm talking about going to December when it's 10 below zero.
So
that will affect anybody.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Coach.
No,
you were talking about the lady that was thinking about the A and B thing.
The concept would be great to be able to do that. And there might be. I don't know of any right now, but there could be a high school across somewhere in the United States that has 2 varsity teams out there playing, that they're that big of a school or whatever. Some of these schools, look at the schools now. Even in West, we get 2,500 kids there, 2,400 kids there.
Oh, yeah.
The participation in sports is surprisingly low, but that's a normal thing that happens. Now, can we do some things to get more kids playing sports? Yeah, but there's always going to be the don't want to be a loser factor. As kids get older, usually, like they say, 70% of kids drop out of youth sports at about 13 years old. A lot of things happen. Girls discover boys, boys discover girls. Before, they each had cooties, and nobody wanted to do, they flirted, but they didn't, and that went. I think I remember that far back. But
oh my!
all of a sudden, there's different things they're thinking about. Unfortunately, the wrong things that sometimes they get. But they're hanging out with different kids. They're making different friends. The one thing, and I think in this story here, and this lady was talking about, apparently in this case, might have been some favoritism, and that's another issue out there. We get up, so kids will try out, and then they don't make it. I'm never going to try it again. Why not? Come back and try again the next year. Coach Mike here, Kids and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
TheTicketSurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. TheTicketSurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra modern, ultra clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. 3 quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Coy Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax-deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
Number one. Number one.
Is that a stutter or as high as you can count?
I was ordering number one tequila.
Everybody's asking for number one.
Great, another fancy bottle.
These guys are true artists. Never compromise integrity. They make tequila
Come
the
on.
old-fashioned way. Never mass-produced.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying have the number one. Anything less is number two.
Number one.
Number one, tequila.
Okay, we're back. Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports. The Rant Radio Network is we're in the Rant Radio Towers here. If you're watching us on video, you can see the beautiful view we got. Okay. Do you rent us this office there, Alex? Or
You know, it makes me feel like I'm on top of one of these buildings here, and we're kind of doing the show off one of the buildings early in the morning.
there you go. There you go. One of Greg's sunrise pictures, all we need to get up there. Okay, so right here's an article Brooke DeLynch wrote, and she talks about should equal to playing time, should it be the rule, not an exception? And she talks about when her sons were playing travel ball, and there was, a kid that got travel soccer, and she was talking about it, the one kid getting much more time than the others and never came out. And she mixes. One of the things, I agree with a lot of what she's trying to say, but she mixes up certain things. Number one, if it's travel soccer, say travel softball, club volleyball, club basketball, there's two ways to look at things. Number one, you're not going to get equal playing time. That's something that's for rec ball, that's for the developmental stages. When you get to travel or club, these are the elite teams. Playing time is earned. The best 9 or 5 or 11 or whatever is going to be on the field. Now, one argument some people will make, well, if it's travel and they're all good enough to be on the team, aren't they all good enough to be on the field at any given time? And you think theoretically that would be the case, but that's not. We don't. Same thing we see in the pros. Okay, it's no different there.
Yeah, usually there's one or two players that stand out.
There's certain players that stand out. They're going to get more. Now, should that kid be playing all the time and never get a break? No, I wouldn't agree with it. I would. I don't care what level you're playing at. Now, if I'm in a CIF playoff game or some sort of whatever my league is playoff game, and I need that player makes that significant of a difference because he or she is that talented, yeah, then there's the time where, okay, you're maybe not going to get arrested. I need you on the field. And those players want to be on the field. They want to be in that game. You wouldn't see the Packers going to Aaron Rodgers in the 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter of a close game and say, "Hey, Aaron, you need a rest here. Come on out for it." No,
Yeah, well, because it's fair for the other player to have to play.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly too well. Okay?
No, it wouldn't. A lot of angry fans.
Now, but see, there's a thing. There's a lot of things like we do with a lot of things in life. We overlap different areas. So there's travel teams out there that aren't really elite teams and aren't. There's a lot of mediocre travel teams, and I'm okay with that because I do think we should have different levels of travel ball. Not that we even need to label them. The people know, people involved in the sport know which teams are the elite teams and which ones aren't, okay? They're going to label themselves. You don't have to label them. But they're going to see, hey, that team over there isn't that good. Now, when that team, that's the neat thing, again, maybe if I go to that team and they suddenly beat that other team, how much more enjoyable is that, right? I use my daughter's example. She never seemed to care whether she was on the gold team. She tried out for gold teams and stuff like that, almost made one of them. But then she went to a regular 18A team last year, and they actually did pretty well. And she played the game, and she won some games. They won a tournament. The tournament's a tournament to a degree. Now, is there something about winning that? Sure. And we weren't on one of those teams. Did she get a scholarship? No. Could she have got one? She could have. She killed herself in a way because she put on her web video that we did with one of the team. They had these people come out and did the whole team for them. Okay, but she put on there, I don't want to go out of state. Well, you just narrow it. It's sort of like if you sell something on eBay. If I say I'm not going to ship this item, I just cut off a big market, right? So there's no problem. But she was okay with that. She played a little junior college ball, and she's good. So, and I think too many times the parents get all hung up on getting the scholarship and stuff like that. Do they ever bother to ask, okay, what do you really want? What is important to you? Not just do you want to play softball, but sure what is it? How important it is for you to get the scholarship? For you, not for dad or not for mom. And most of the kids will tell you, yeah, it's important. They want to do it, but is it the most important thing? Would they do things a little bit differently if it was up to them? Maybe someone would say yes.
Well, this kind of brings a question. We kind of joked around a little bit about tiddlywinks last week, about getting rid of contact sports.
Yeah.
But let's just say that became reality at some point. Does that mean that they're going to be given scholarships on those things? I mean,
probably not. I don't think there's a big demand for chess. Maybe there could be. I mean, chess you could, but the best players in chess are usually the kid that's got the 4.0 and he's going to get the academic scholarship. I used to get smoked in high school in the chess team. Oh, I'd try. These guys would just beat the snot out of me, and I think I was pretty good because I could compete with my dad or a friend or two. But boy, you get now, and that's another lesson that you sports get. Every level you step up, the competition is that much tougher. You might be the best player on your junior high team, but now you go to a high school that's got 4 junior highs feeding that high school. Now you're competing against the best kids of all those schools too. So now all of a sudden you go, wow, I'm still pretty good, but I'm not the superstar, that I thought I was. Maybe
you're the little fish.
Now you're becoming a smaller fish. Well, it's not that you're the little fish. You might still be a big fish, but now there's other big fish around too. And so now, and then you move up to college, that has the ability to recruit thousands of high schools across the country. And now all of a sudden you're competing against a bunch of other kids that are every bit as good as you, if not better, for that spot.
And studied for that reason. And
some parents just don't get that. They don't. And I've heard the comments at the high school level. When my daughter was playing, there was 2 parents. I don't get it. When they were in the rec league, boy, they were hitting home runs. You're not in the rec league anymore. Now you're competing against kids from other rec leagues who are the best in those leagues too. And they're trying to get your daughter out. So it's not the same. What if you don't make the team? I didn't make the team, okay? And I'll tell you what happened. I used to love to play basketball. If I was still physically capable, I'm sure I'd still be out there playing today. I never went out in high school. I played on our church team. And I never went out in high school. My junior year, my high school had an 0-23 record. They did not win a game. And I had friends, Mike, why don't you go out for the team? Why don't you go out for the team? And I was the one that, well, I don't know if I'm good enough. I didn't know if I'm good enough. I didn't have a jump shot at the time. I had a pretty good set shot. Does anybody today even know what a set shot is?
I was just going to ask you that.
Well, that's sort of gone by the. But back then, it wasn't. And I didn't know something. If somebody would have told me, I guess if I would have talked to the coach, maybe he would have told me. But a few years later, I was playing on a church team, and we had a guy from another high school that was a coach in another high school. And he told me, and he said, Mike, you shouldn't have been able to shoot a jump shot back then, at that point. I said, that's the kid. There are some kids that can, but most cannot. There's a lot of other things you need. And, boy, I wish I went out. So anyway, I was sort of motivated because I had developed a pretty good jump shot. There wasn't a shot I didn't like. Sort of like Charlie Scott used to play with the Suns. If I had the ball, there was a shot there, So I practiced for like 6 months, and I could shoot the eye out of the basket. 3-point didn't matter. I mean, I could shoot. So I tried out. I was going to Phoenix College, decided to try out for the team. Made the first cut. And I thought, well, I'm doing pretty good here, right? There was a couple of guys that stood out, but a lot of us all seemed to be fairly the same boat. But here's the thing. See, there's things there that I did not know about, that I did not see, that the coach sees, right? Second cut. It's coming up. The coach pulls me aside, and he says, Mike, you didn't play high school ball, did you? And I said, no, I played church ball. He says, I could tell. He says, any other year, I'd want to keep you on the bench here, and I'd take you on the team and work with you because I see a lot of good things. He says, this year, he not only had both starting guards back, and at 6 foot tall, or barely 6 foot, I wouldn't have been anything but a guard probably. But he said, got both starting guards back. One was a junior college All-American. Okay. He had 7 all-state high school guards trying out for the team. He says, if I get 1 or 2, usually I'm lucky. He had 7. So that's what I was competing against. Now, I look back again now, I was actually walked away and I was fairly satisfied that I felt I did pretty well. Even though I didn't make the team, I felt, hey, I got some attention.
Yeah, it was more a matter of circumstance.
But sometimes I look back and say, I wonder if the coach at the same time wasn't seeing if I would try to battle even further. And I chose not to at that point. And I was satisfied. I gave my effort. And I felt like I was a decent player. Am I going to be the best player? No, never was. I wasn't that super athlete. My dad told me that when I was a kid. That I wasn't, I didn't have that body. I'm not that athlete. That I'm never going to play for the Yankees or anything, whatever. That was my dream when I was a kid, to play baseball for the Yankees. Because you don't make a team, does that mean you're no good? No. But the parents are the ones that are helping not to facilitate the proper message to our kids. The parents are the ones, well, if you don't make this, you must not be doing it right. Now, a lot of parents, I'm sure, try to give the right message. Maybe they don't know what to say. Maybe they don't know. What I told my daughter, and I've told this story before, when we first got into travel ball, she tried out for 5 teams. They all said, come back when she's a little faster. We had a chance. One of those teams wanted her back, and she hesitated, hemmed and hawed that day. And after we talked about it, I didn't bug her for a while. I said, okay, take a break. And she was bored out of her mind. And when it came down to it, when we finally talked, she said, what if they don't want me again? And that sort of hit me in the heart as a dad. I didn't realize the rejection was bothering her. And I think maybe a lot of parents, sometimes we don't ask our kids the right questions, or maybe we're too busy with our lives to take the time to hear them say, this bothers me. But there's the time. I didn't go out and try to give them, well, yeah, sports is unfair. You should have made the team. And there's parents that do that. Oh, that coach wasn't fair. That coach doesn't know what he's doing. It's that blame mentality that we've gotten into as a society these days.
Yeah, as opposed to personal responsibility.
Instead of look back at me. What could I have done Or, like you said with my tryout with Phoenix College, it was a matter of circumstance. It wasn't nobody's, it was a matter of circumstance of the events. We'll get back to that, Dave. You know we've done an hour already?
That's an hour.
Too much fun here. Kids and Sports, Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in a minute.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmart, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Do we have your attention? When it comes to tequila, two things matter: heart and passion. Never compromising integrity for mass production. Number one tequila delivers the goods. Taste the heart and passion of Mexico in every bottle. We make it right. We make it fun. Superior tequila. There's only number one. There's only number one. There's only number one.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home, at AJR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AJR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.hrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos Español.
The second hour is here. Thank you for joining us on Kids and Sports at the Rant Radio Network. I'm Coach Mike, my co-host Alex Alanese, and we're talking about what do you do when your child doesn't make the team, when you're not good enough. What do you do? Did you ever not make a team, Alex?
Oh, never not. Yeah, actually, I did one time. I was pretty avidly playing soccer, and I want to say I might have been maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I didn't make. Yeah, I didn't make the All-Star team.
Okay.
And that was a bit devastating because most of the parents and players thought that I should have. And I think it was more of a political thing. Me and my brother and my dad, we were pretty predominant in the sport. And soccer lovers, And it was more, I think it was more a thing of just upper administration just kind of pulling strings to keep us out of the limelight or out of the loop. But the following year made it no problem, and it was by a majority vote at that point.
How did you feel when you made it the second year? Was there anything to saying back, see, I should have made it, or were you just glad you made it at that point?
Well, my attitude that season, the following season, was to try harder and to do better and to score more and to make it known that I belonged on that All-Star team.
Did you hear that, parents? Did you hear what Alex just said? Okay, he's got some reward. He feels so good about it. He's got a couple more hash browns. But no.
Thank you for the station, too, by bringing the hash browns.
There we go. But no, that's exactly the point we're trying to make. Don't go, oh, I'm never going to play this sport again because I didn't make the team, or this coach doesn't like me, or whatever. That coach is one coach. That team is one team.
Actually, the coach that I had, he was
Yep.
he was a younger gentleman. I want to say he was in his 20s. He was a good coach. I forgot his name, but he actually was in disagreement and went to protest about the whole thing.
When you didn't make it, or
when
when
I didn't make it.
Oh, I thought when you did make it.
My parents were a little bit more soft spoken about those things. My dad was always one to push ability versus create controversy type
Okay,
of thing.
good.
That was his.
That was a good
his thing.
Your dad taught you the right stuff.
Well, I think so. I mean, I looking back, definitely, I was a bit devastated because of it. But at the same time, like I said, it was one of those things where I tried harder the following year, made sure that that I wasn't going to fall into that pit, if you will, in that gray area, where there was a possibility that I wasn't going to make it. I belonged on that team.
There you go.
Yeah. So later on, now going into high school, I actually got kicked off the high school team because I was playing on
club
It
team?
was like a club team.
Okay.
That I wasn't supposed to be playing
Can't
on.
do that.
Yeah, and I broke my ankle.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would have. Now, did you? You weren't playing at the same time as high school.
It was the same time.
Same time?
Same
And
time.
that's against the rules.
It is.
You're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Can we go back and fine you?
They kicked me off the team. They didn't fine me. It was junior varsity.
Okay.
But because I was a freshman, but I did get kicked off the team. But I was still allowed to come to the games and sit in on the games and what have you. But
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, it didn't matter because I had a cast on for about 4 months, so it didn't really matter.
The sort of hinders your play.
Yeah, I wasn't getting out there anyway, so.
But this is too many times we hear people. As a matter of fact, I just had a situation this year where I've had a player quit because they had a bad experience in their travel ball this summer, and it, as she said, took her heart out of it. So she does. Hopefully, there's still time for her to change her mind now. Maybe she'll miss a little bit and decide to come back. But I hear too many stories, and I think any coach can say there's players. Some coaches, if you want to quit, they want to make you quit. There's that old adage, mostly I think it comes from football, where the coach says, I'm going to run you guys so hard today until somebody quit. I'm going to do this until somebody quits.
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
A few years back, there was a tragic situation where a young player died back in Kentucky. And the reason this story came out, it was the first time ever that a coach was actually criminally charged with the player's death. Oh, yeah. And I tried to get some people on the show. I talked to one of the reporters, and he said he's going to come on later. We never hooked up, got it on. And of course, pretty difficult to get hold of the coach and all that. And, I'm sure the coach felt like really crud. I mean, that this happened. There's no coach that I know of would walk away enjoying that situation, okay? But there were different sides. Obviously, everybody gets polarized and they take different sides. There were some parents that said, he wasn't letting the players have water. There were other parents that said, yeah, he was letting them have water. I think that's great. Go ahead. So the tragedy of the whole there you go. The tragedy of the whole situation we see in there is that supposedly somebody has said that that coach had made one of those statements that about trying to get somebody to quit. Now I don't know if most coaches do that in meaning it. I don't know if most coaches really want to see somebody quit, or if that is sort of a motivational for that particular moment. I myself have never gotten a play. I've had players that want to do the conditioning side, that they don't know if they want to keep going. They and I don't want them. I don't try to make them quit. But I do try to.
Thank you, sir. He zoomed in on you.
He did, huh?
Yeah.
Got you off the picture. Wow, he's talented. But no, I've never gone out and said I'm going to try and make my players quit. But especially since I know I'm not pushing them to that extreme, if a player wants to quit, we have to have a conversation. If they think I'm working them too hard when I'm working them, then we have to have a conversation.
Well, the coach might say that just as to raise the bar.
Yeah.
Like to get him to that point. But is the intention to make him quit? I don't think so. I mean,
that's what I mean. I'm wondering if that player did. This coach was accused of saying that. I think was one. I'd have to go back and look up some of the stories, but we see something like that happen, or that, football. I understand when things are more likely to go wrong, because let's think what you're doing out there. You're training the kids to play a sport where you're clobbering each other out there. I mean, the goal is not to beat the other guy up. The goal is to score touchdowns. And the defense's goal is to stop you from scoring. That involves the collisions. That involves some toughness. Boy, look at that.
Okay, let's stop that now.
Are we a training class here?
I didn't even know the cameras did that,
I didn't even see it move, Anyway, so do they get to that point? Where do we get this? So I think the parents are missing the opportunity. You had the right attitude. You said, I'm going to go back and prove to them.
Yeah.
And I
had something to prove, that's for sure. Let me tell you, I scored probably twice as many goals, assisted probably twice as many goals, held back the number of goals on our team. I think we're in second place on that division.
Now, how many parents were mad because you were getting playing time they thought their kids should have got?
No, I don't think there was any mad. I think they were happy to have me on their team.
See,
they wanted to be on the winning team.
You see that so many times too.
Yeah.
You see, you'll have a team, let's say a dozen people out there, or a dozen parents, dozen sets of parents. And most of them are happy, though. They're glad that their kid gets to play with you. There's somebody of your level to help lift them up and all this. But you're always going to have that one parent.
Yeah, there was a few players that were out there. They didn't really have the ability that I had, unfortunately. The parents knew it, but they were just happy that at least their kid was able to get on the team and play sometimes. And, they were nice people. They're really nice people. Just unfortunate that sometimes some kids don't have that ability, which actually brings me to my own son. He's autistic, and, me just trying to be a good dad, I would go out and play catch with him at times. Well, at some point when he got old enough, he wanted to play. He wanted to say, hey, Pop, you think I could play? I knew that he wasn't going to be able to because he doesn't understand strategy. He doesn't understand some of these things, being borderline autistic. I took him to a tryout, and at the tryouts, the coach is hitting him balls and things like that. He was actually doing fairly well, but what happened was he got a pop fly. They put him out in the outfield to see if he could catch a pop fly while the sun got in his eyes. So he moved out of the way and didn't catch the ball. Well, because he didn't catch the ball, he thought he failed, and he threw the mitt on the ground and walked off the field. Now, I kind of knew that was going to happen, but on the other end of it, it has to do with ability. It's I understood that about my son. I didn't blame, the establishment for not giving him another try. As a matter of fact, the coach was telling him, hey, get back on the field because we're still not done yet. But he didn't understand that. So it's just a small story about not making the team when it comes to that, just having that ability.
I think, we can look at all sorts of parts of different things we talk about in our society and politics, religion, and all this. And me, I'm always one looking at some of the other little things, the effects. Everything we do has an effect on somebody else. Everything everybody else does has an effect on us to a degree if we're in that circle. And I look at part of the damage done, but I would say part of it's done because we have a side we keep trying to take religion out of and everything. But even sometimes good Christian parents fall into the same thing where they're looking something isn't fair why their kid didn't make the team. And they will sometimes enable their child to quit for the wrong reasons. Now, if at some point you come along, like at some point, just like I retired from slow pitch softball because I'm getting too old, too decrepit. I consider myself to be in pretty good shape, right? But
I think you used the term old fart.
Yeah, I did. I use that term quite often. But I still feel really good and everything. I just obviously can't do what I could do 20 years ago. Now, does that mean I couldn't play? No, if I really wanted to right now, if I really had the time and wanted to endure a little more pain, there's senior leagues that I could. I umpired did a little umpiring for now and then slow pitch.
Well, how old you got to be on a senior team?
Usually 50. There's 50 and over, 60 and over. I think there's 70 and over leagues.
And you're pushing what, 49?
Yeah, 29 maybe. I can use that. But
29.
I saw a guy 67 years old one time hit a ball as far as I could ever hit it, even in my heyday, so to speak. So if I really wanted to get out there and suffer a little, I could do it. Coach Mike, Kids in Sports, will be back in just a minute after these messages.
Nurses Life Express provides unique apparel for all the hardworking nurses that wear many hats. It's apparel that expresses nurses' amazing, humorous, and caring personalities. After all, nurses are as influential as their united goal to help others. Nursing's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. For more information, please call 562-270-4312 or visit their website at www.nurselife.com. www.nurselyfe.com. Nurseslife.com, where nurses' lives are expressed.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Swing.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. 3 quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
Are you watching the game at home? Why? Come watch it at Mambo Grill, the hottest spot in Downey. You'll have good food, drinks, and a great time at a low price. We have the coldest beer in our sports bar, where you can enjoy the game on any of our huge flat screen TVs. And when your home team wins, you get 25% off anything in Mambo Grill. We're on Downey Avenue, 1 block north of Firestone, or visit us on the web. Mambo Grill, love at first bite.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we can call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
Back.
We're back. Kids in Sports, the Rant Radio Network. There's opportunities missed. By the way, since this was on the segment, I got to remind anybody tuned in late. Boy, I can't even talk right today. I was up late last night. Sorry about that. Kids in Sports, go to the website, KIDZ, N as in Nancy, sports.com. That's kidsinsports.com. And you'll find out, for those of you baseball and softball teams, there's a special on there if you're high school or college coaches. Run a little special on there, save you a couple of dollars. My prices are pretty good anyhow. But check that out. I got a specific for you guys. You got to be a school to get those prices. You know what? I'll even give away some cards if a coach. Excuse me, if a coach called 855-969-RANT or 855-693-4897, somebody called us and told us their story when they didn't make the team, I think I give them some lineup cards for their team.
That's pretty good value.
Yeah. I think I'll do that if somebody calls. I don't know. We'll see. Parents, what lessons are you teaching the kids? When are you using negatives to blame somebody why things didn't go right for you or for your kid, or are you using that as a learning lesson for your kid? When I was coaching the JV at Norwalk a few years back, I think 2009 season, it was unique because that was the only year I ever coached a JV team. But it was unique because I did not get one complaint from any parent the whole season. And early in the season, we were going to the scrimmage, and we ended up scrimmaging, I think, Downey and Miracosta. So we got clobbered. I mean, their JV seemed like a varsity team, right? We just got hammered. And I was surprised. I was proud of the girls. They gave a good effort. We just were overmanned or overwomaned, I guess you'd say. We were just out. We didn't have the horses that they had, okay? So I was talking to my friend, a friend of our church. His daughter's the one that sort of encouraged me to take the job coaching there. They're looking for a coach late, you know. And he said, Mike, he said, you got to understand something. He said, we've got some of these kids tried out last year as freshmen, and they didn't make the team. And so they're just glad to have the opportunity to make the team. And I carried a big roster. I carried like 16, 17 kids. Because in my view, JV is, what am I doing? I'm preparing the kids for varsity. I don't want to write off too many kids. Sure, I'm going to cut a couple of kids if they're really not there. But if a kid wants to be there and they're willing to work, I'm going to work with them, give them the opportunity. Like you said, the second year you came back, you were going to prove it, right? So I didn't have the end of the season, and I got some of the kids in travel ball. I think I told this story a couple weeks ago. But I had one of the parents came up to me then, and he said, and I told him, I said, I didn't have a complaint from anybody all season. Every coach, I don't care how good or bad of a coach you are, you can be the best coach out there, there's going to be somebody that has a complaint during the season, whether it's about their kids' playing time or you didn't do this right or your fundraiser wasn't this or whatever. And I asked him, he said, Mike, he says, you don't understand. He says, we didn't think you were going to win a game this year. We ended up third in league. Now, one school had to forfeit because they didn't have a JV.
And why would they think that?
Because they just thought we did not have the talent level. And the varsity actually got to CIF playoffs here. The varsity had a really good little pitcher. And I think they could have gone farther in playoffs, but I think they made a what I call a coaching mistake. Maybe the kid didn't do what the coach said. I don't know, the pitcher. But I felt a mistake that they could have gone farther. They were pretty good. But they just didn't, the parents did not feel we had the level of talent to do that well. And we were in a couple of tough tournaments. Yeah, we got beat pretty good by some schools. But, the girls were trying. The girls were battling out there, trying to do the best they could. We had like a lot of teams, we had a little bit of drama partway through the season we had to deal with. But the girls really pulled together and did quite well.
Excellent.
And he told me, he says, we didn't think you were going to win. And I was a little bit surprised, like you say, that a parent would say that to me. He said, we didn't think you were going to win a game. I think we ended up, I think we won about 8. And so I think we were about 8-15 on the season. So we had a losing record, but like I said, third in league.
You caught their interest.
To me, would I want to be on the elite team, be a coach in one of these elite teams? Oh, sure. But especially at this point in my life, I wouldn't be. If I was a lot younger, I had an opportunity to possibly be a college coach a couple of years ago. And there was another person that had stepped in as interim coach, and they offered him the job first, which was correct. I think they should have. But there was an opportunity there, and especially if I'd been much younger, I would definitely pursue that a lot more because I really enjoyed doing it. I think it'd be fun if I had time to do that and then later come back down, and pass that experience on. But right now, I get a lot of joy taking a team that's struggling, the school where I'm at now. The year before I got there, didn't win a game in league. They had been moved up into one of the toughest leagues in probably in the United States as far as softball goes. And they didn't win a game. And when I got there, I found the level of talent was probably as good or better of any team that I had. And so part of it was circumstance. Part of it, we're losing, but look who we're playing against, right?
Yes, yes. Kind of brings a question, Coach Davis, if I may.
Yes.
When you got cut from the basketball team, well, not cut, but you didn't make the team.
I was cut.
Topic of the show, you were cut. What'd you do after that?
Went back to playing church ball.
Okay, so
I didn't stop playing.
So you didn't stop playing. You didn't quit.
No, I didn't. I was not. I was a little bit disappointed because of course I wanted to be on the team. That would have been really cool, But I also knew that I was battling an uphill battle.
Did you go watch the games at least?
I think I watched one game that year.
Just one?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was in high school, I didn't play basketball, but I used to love to go watch the games.
Yeah.
They were very exciting, very, energetic,
I was more I've always sort of been more that I want to play more than I want to watch. Even football games, I would go to one or two a season. I wouldn't go to every game. And I enjoy going to a game, but like now we'll go to see a baseball game once or twice a year, maybe.
Well, Dallas is going to be in San Diego September 29th.
Have you gone on some site? I know a ticket broker down in.
See, now I'm glad I said that. Because,
I know a ticket broker can get you tickets. They should be giving them away pretty soon, I imagine.
Yeah, right. Hey, San Diego won this weekend. So.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Show me some respect, boy.
Yeah, you get some respect. So, again, I think the lesson I would like my audience to come away with today is not whether your kid makes the team, doesn't make the team, whether there's some favoritism. Sure, there could be, but what are you doing to teach your son or daughter, teach them something with that will carry them and help them be successful later? And if you're teaching them to blame somebody else, that it was this coach was biased again, for his son or for another player or whatever it is.
Yeah, politics.
Politics. If you're blaming something.
Color.
Sometimes there's that. Then I think you're missing the opportunity. You're hindering your kid later because you're giving them permission as their parent. You're giving them permission to make excuses for failure.
Yeah, and stop trying.
Yeah, because it is going to pay off. You don't see it. Now, are there a lot of things that the leagues could do better? And I appreciate like what Brooke brought out. There are things that I would battle that would carry some of the same principles she argues for, but not in the same way. I don't agree with some of the ideas she has, because logistically I don't think they would have them. Do I agree there's time? For example, in travel ball, yes, every player, you're earning your playing time. But there's a couple things every coach I would think would be thinking about. Number one, I need my weakest players to get some playing time. If my star gets hurt over here, I don't want this kid over here to come in cold and not have him played in 3 weeks because I got him on the bench because they weren't the star.
I was thinking a little bit. I know I don't want to change the subject in terms of football, but I was thinking about that this weekend where a punter or a kicker, sometimes they do a fake.
Okay.
And sometimes they have to have the ability to throw the ball. So what are they doing on the sidelines? They're practicing throwing the ball. But what are kickers mostly doing in football? They're sitting most of the game. So that kind of flows along with what you're saying, that they should be practicing in the background.
What they're going to do.
Regardless of whether they're playing or not, because at some point you may need them to be there, and they have to have the ability at that point to do it.
And there's been times when we were in travel ball where my daughter did not play very much. And there were times where, she wasn't one of the top 9 players, but I still felt there were, in travel ball, there's games that are called friendlies where you're just playing other teams and there's, you're keeping score and everything, but you're not winning. You're not going to win a tournament.
Is that where they play 8 games in one day or something like that?
Well, no. Usually you're only going to play 2 or 3 games.
That's a lot of games.
Occasionally 4. You're going to play 2 or 3 games in a day. The games are going all day because they'll have X number of teams come in. So, but yeah, you'll do that. A lot of teams will do that because they make some money too. Okay, some of them will charge, some of them won't charge. They'll say, "Oh, you're paying the umpires." So, but if it's a friendly, if I'm going to play 3 friendlies today, if I'm the coach, every kid is going to be playing a fair amount. I don't do no equal time. Okay, equal time, and the concept of equal time, especially in baseball or softball or something like that, is people got to realize we've gotten carried away with equal time because believe it or not, there's some parents that go out there. My kid only played 14 minutes and 37 seconds. Your kid played 15 minutes. You know?
You're kidding me.
No, there are some, believe it or not, but not. Luckily, they're the very small minority.
Talk about splitting hairs. Yeah. My goodness.
In a rec league, generally in baseball or softball, your kid cannot sit on the bench 2 innings in a row, or more than 2. Yeah, 2 innings in a row, the equal time. Now, they'll say, like I could do 2 innings. They did allow some flexibility because, to me, I don't say you're hurting the kids that young. It doesn't matter as much by going every other inning. But if I can go 2 innings and then switch and then 2 innings for the next group, by you going back out the next inning, you're actually, I think, going to do a little bit better. But believe it or not, even in youth, sometimes you might not get 4 innings in. Coach Mike here, Kids and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
Ticketsurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. Ticketsurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra modern, ultra clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
The Share Foundation is the health division of the Koi Chiropractic Institute, a 501c3 509A2 public nonprofit organization dedicated to the growth and development of the natural health care services, in particular through the chiropractic profession, offering health services at the Share clinics in the greater Los Angeles area. Your donations can help in expanding these facilities across the nation, research programs, and public education, thus offering a solution to the many of the health challenges we face. Your donations are tax-deductible and can be sent through our website at www.sharefoundation.com. That's www.cherfoundation.com by clicking on the donation button. Thank you.
Dirty Truth Radio Show, where we'll be talking about relationships,
marriage,
how to have sex,
Coach Mike here, Kids and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. Thanks for joining me. We're talking about what happens when you don't make the team, and I think the big thing we want people to take away today is there's opportunities to teach your kids life lessons when they don't make a team. Sometimes there's more opportunity than when they do make the team. You know,
Well, do we know any professional players that got cut early on that became professional players?
I know one, probably the biggest one in the world.
Which one is that?
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
He was cut on the high school team or
Well,
something?
he didn't make it.
He did make it as a freshman in high school.
Wow, that's a great
That's
example.
oh yeah, he was. Matter of fact, if I recall the story right, the coach tell him he'd never make it as a basketball player?
I believe so, and I think that's actually when he started playing baseball, and then he decided to try again, and that's when he blew up.
So there's
that's a great example.
Yeah, there are several. That's probably one of the greatest. There's several that I admire Tim Tebow. The guy, I guess I don't know if it was New England or whatever. So somebody offered him, said they wanted to work him out like as a tight end or something, a different position. He said, "No, I want to be a quarterback." He has set goals now. Is that going to hurt his career? Maybe. But you know what? I'm looking at how a couple teams are doing, and a couple teams need a leader. And a quarterback might have a lot of skills. I don't know. They're not showing it, but they need a leader, and there's a guy that's a leader. I mean, whatever the guy wins.
Historically, the Jets, they needed him.
Yeah, I bet they are wishing they cut it. Did I think they're having a little second thought. If they're not, then something's wrong with their thinking. But no, a few years ago I had Carl Mecklenburg on the show. Carl used to be middle linebacker, I think it was for Denver Broncos. And I was kidding him because I said I used to be a Denver fan, but until they cut Jake Plummer. And Carl shared with me, he says, that was not a popular decision when they made that. They brought Jay Cutler in. Jay has a tremendous arm, and the guy can throw the ball a ton, right? But he wasn't the leader. And I heard a lot of them being an ASU fan about Jake Plummer in that regard, but they said that was the one thing that they lost because Plummer, I think, went to Atlanta and he didn't make the cut or whatever, so he retired. But they said he was a tremendous leader. And that's the kind of guy that I'm gonna pay that guy even to be my backup quarterback if I think I've got somebody, like a Cutler that's got that kind of an arm and everything, because there's qualities you need out on any team that aren't just measured in yards or home runs or anything else. Big story, and Ryan Leaf, I don't know if you remember him, came out of the Pac-10, played for Washington State. Guy was a monster. He was like 6'5", 240 or something like that as a quarterback. And the year ASU went undefeated when they went to the Rose Bowl there in 96 season, 97 Rose Bowl. But we had a guy named Derek Rogers who I think went on to play with Miami for a few years, defensive end or whatever. The guy was amazing pass rusher. And he had Leaf sacked 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Leaf turned it into a positive gain. And the guy, he was carrying 5 guys before they brought him down. Guy was a monster. But, most people that follow the pros like that know the story. The Chargers paid a consulting firm $25,000 because they had a choice between Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning to get in the draft.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think wasn't that Harvey, wasn't that the year Peyton Manning came out? It was between Leaf and Manning, I think it was.
He stepped out for a second.
He went out.
Well,
Okay.
look at Peyton Manning now.
Well, that's right. And the consulting firm told him, don't take Leaf. The guy's trouble. The guy had a discipline problem. He was a great athlete, but he anger issues. I mean, I understand that he was working on him getting better, but now somebody said I guess something happened. He was working with quarterbacks at Texas Tech or something. So I mean, it's a shame. We all know those athletes that don't quite get there. You can't just measure it by athletic ability. And I think, and every coach is going to have some players that you're wrong on. Let's face it. We got so many days to take kids. And I was going back earlier talking about playing time. Travel ball, if there's a friendly, I'm going to play everybody throughout the 3 games. So some players are going to get more time. Okay? When it comes to a tournament, now I'm going for the best kids to win that game. Okay? So as a parent, you need to be teaching your kid, okay, your role on this team. And I'm going to tell them as coach, it's my job as a coach to explain to the player, not just say, okay, you're on the bench. No. Here's where I need you to be. You're not going to be a starter, but if so-and-so gets hurt, or if a certain situation comes up and I think you're good at doing this, I'm going to be putting you, I need you to be ready to go in that game. and let them be there. There's just because you're on the bench doesn't mean you're the worst player. It means that I think there's somebody better than you today for that role. Actually, a kid, the one school I was at, one of the girls was doing a video project for the yearbook or the school, which we ended up using it for our awards banquet. But she went to one of the kids. The kid says, "Yeah, my position's left bench." And I was a little surprised that this kid said it because she actually got quite a bit of playing time. There were games she started, and I was a little surprised she did that. And she would have glimpses of brilliance, and then another day she'd come out and she'd be terrible. And she was one of those kind of players. So coaches can't, if you're having a tryout and you've got 2 hours or 2 days, however your tryout's going to be, these coaches have to make decisions within a short period of time. And if you happen to have a bad day that day, is that the coach's fault?
No, absolutely.
But now I try to do things a little different. I'm willing to do things a little bit different to try to get kids a longer look and stuff. I'll take kids, usually, for example, the school I'm at now, the 6th period class, they usually won't put them in 6th period until they've had a tryout. But I had a couple kids this year, they said, they want to play, and they emailed me or something, and I said, yeah, have you played before? I played a year. If they've given me any sign that they might know something, I'll tell the counselor, go ahead and put them in 6th period. They're going to be in a PE class anywhere. I got more kids. I got 17 kids out now. I can do a lot more during that 6th period class. When we start getting into the drills and stuff like that, I'm going to be able to do a lot more, and it gives me a lot longer chance to see what this kid might be able to do. And I let them know, this doesn't mean you're probably going to be on the team because we don't have a ton of bodies, but you could still be cut. And usually you're going to get cut because you're not giving the attitude, you're not presenting the effort. What do we got? Hey, look who's here. Come on in, have a seat there, Greg. Our newest sponsor just dropped by for a visit today. Greg Gunter of Greg's Auto Body. Is his mic all set there? Oh, Armin's ready for you, baby. Greg, welcome to Kids in Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Now you got to come close to the mic there, Greg.
Okay.
These mics are very specialized.
Okay. How's that?
That's much better.
Does that
I
work?
can hear you now.
Greg, Alex and I were talking today about what happens if your kid doesn't make the team. I had a story when I tried out for junior college to play basketball, and I didn't make the team. And Alex talked to you. You shared with me a story the other day. You got a story you didn't make a team once.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting story. My grandson, he started going into Little League, and so I was around, so I said, well, help. I never really got involved in sports at all, and so I started helping coach him. I didn't know what I was doing, but I still help, And so my mom was still alive at the time, and so she goes, Greg, don't you remember? I go, what? He goes, remember when you were went out for Little League, and the coach came to the door and just says, Greg's not good enough. He can't play anymore. And so I was done with the sports completely.
Can you imagine it?
And did you what did you feel at that time, Greg?
I don't remember because I blocked it out, I guess.
Oh, I see.
But so what I did is I decided, I don't know, but I didn't go out for any other sports after that, and I got into cars.
Yeah, well, that's a sport, right? I mean,
but look, the guy is successful in cars.
Right. Greg's Auto Body is a big name around here.
But it's a big name because the guy's success. If that coach had taken, maybe he's out still trying to play baseball somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
There's one thing. Everybody my age, my friends that did play, they could barely walk. The guys who were into sports, football and baseball, all their knees are all screwed up and they're all a mess.
You're laughing at them now.
I'm fine. I'm perfect. I have no problems with any joints.
I tell Dr. Quayers on the show, when I went to high school, the family doctor told me my aunt and uncle no football for that very reason. They said too many bones and ligaments are not developed yet. So don't go out and live till you're a junior. What coach wants to see you when you're a junior unless you're some superstar,
Yeah, exactly.
So, I decided, but I look back now, I'm have some joint issues now, but thank God I didn't play. I'd be a real mess. But
oh yeah,
I can't imagine and Greg's maybe slightly older than I am. I played. I remember vaguely playing 2 seasons of Little League, maybe. I couldn't tell you any games. I have very little memory of it. I know I was out there. My dad, like I said, told me, hey, you don't have the body. You're not going to be that super athlete. I don't remember that, but the coach came to the door and told him, don't bother to bring him back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And I didn't remember that at all.
So you don't remember going to the tryouts or anything,
nothing,
any of that stuff?
Nothing.
Even wanting to play?
No.
Wow.
I don't remember doing that at all. Anything about it.
Now you said your grandson is starting to play, and you're getting involved in that.
Right. Well, he was, but he's 13 now, so you either stay with it or you get out. So he decided to get out.
Well, we talked.
But
I
was with him for about 3 years. So
he's probably discovering girls now.
He's discovering girls already.
Now, do you watch baseball, Craig?
I just use I basically watch the news to see who's won.
Oh, I see.
And the highlights.
Not the actual games.
But to sit into a game, I go to a few games now and then, but I guess I still got that block, where I don't really interested.
Well,
in
it's
it,
it's a disinterest in it.
Right.
Right on. We have to remind the studio, please turn your phones off.
Turn your phones off. I thought I had it off for a while. We're just we're breaking all the rules.
I guess
today.
I probably should do that too. Huh?
That's not a phone. That's a TV you got in your pocket.
Yeah, look at that.
I got to get one of the new things.
Well, I can hardly see. So.
All right, Kids and Sports here on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back with our final segment today.
Coming up on the last one.
In the Rant Radio Towers.
The Holy Grounds.
Ticketsurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. Ticketsurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Been in an accident? Then you need your vehicle professionally repaired. That's exactly what you get when you bring your vehicle to Greg's Auto Body Repair. Free quotes within minutes. We will provide everything you need for a hassle-free auto body repair, from an accurate estimate to working with your insurance company. We will get your vehicle to its pre-accident condition as soon as possible. Greg's Auto Body has been serving Los Angeles County and local cities since 1970. Call us at 562-789-1300.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bank Mart, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Building a custom home or business is a huge deal. For some, it's the largest project they'll take on in a lifetime. Choosing your team may be the most important part of ensuring a successful building project. Starting a project by working closely with Core Design will create what's just right for your lifestyle and your property. But selecting the right builder is perhaps the most important part of creating the team. At Core Design's, customer service, quality craftsmanship, and integrity are the keys to our company philosophy. Your custom construction dreams are just a phone call away. Core Design at 213-453-1609. Once again, that number is 213-453-1609.
Hi, I'm Alex Alanis.
And I'm Alonso Rodriguez.
And we are Real Estate Rant. Every Wednesday morning between 10 and 11 a.m.
here at the Towers of Rant Radio Network.
No problems, just solutions. Be sure to call in with your real estate problems, rants, questions, or comments, and let us try to find you a solution.
Tell us about an experience, good or bad,
and finally bury the hatchet once and for all.
In the world of real estate, find a fresh perspective. There's a lot more than meets the eye.
Help us to ensure the public trust, one rant at a time. Roll it.
Roll the clock, roll it. Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports on the Rant, a radio network. My co-host Alex Alanis, and in studio with us today is our newest sponsor, Greg Gunter of Greg's Auto Body. I understand since he's come on the air, we've had 3 people went out and listening to the show and crashed while they're listening. No, I just
now's a good time to crash your car because we got somebody.
We got somebody to take care of it for you. Just don't get hurt. No, you know what I like here is Greg's story, a bit, albeit brief. He is obviously not as long-winded as you and I are, but it goes back to my favorite NCAA commercial. 75% of our athletes go pro in something other than sports, and Greg didn't go to sports for and I was wondering during the break, Greg, we talked. I'm wondering if that happened to me because I don't remember. I just remember not playing anymore, and I know my dad told me probably not. You're never going to be that superstar. And I don't remember he came out and just said you stink. But the bottom line is that whatever reason you got into cars, you were motivated to do something else, and you've gotten pretty successful. What you're doing. Tell us about Greg's Auto Body.
Well, it kind of goes back to I grew up in Pico Rivera, and right down the street was a guy from me that did custom painting in his garage, and so I was, those are the hot rod car days, and so I decided that I was really interested in it. It was really neat, just go hang out and finally I talked him into letting me help him, for free, of course. So I sanded cars for him and worked at it like that, and went on to work for him later on. Of course, I never got paid, but that's the way it was in those days,
I think that's how it is on all businesses. You always have to start off like an apprentice or something.
Yeah. I really wanted to do it. You want to do it, fine, but I don't have any money for you, So okay, so I got into it, and then things went on, and I worked for him after school and after I got out of high school, and then I got drafted and went to Vietnam. And
you were in Nam?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
Oh, yeah.
I've known you for a couple years now, Greg.
That's
I never
right.
knew that.
Yeah, I went in the big draft in 1968.
Wow.
I graduated from high school in 66, and so I messed around and, worked at a shop with him at that time. And his name was Bill Carter. In fact, he's a pretty famous painter. He moved to Van Nuys, so nobody knows him around here as much as they do in Van Nuys and Burbank. So as soon as I got out of the Army, I kind of hated everybody, and the world hated me, and there was a lot of hate involved there. I decided a friend of mine had already started working in a shop. In fact, the shop was Harold's Body Shop. It used to be up on Greenleaf Avenue. It's called Greenleaf's Auto Body now. Anyway, he rented half the shop, so I came just to hang out, and so I was hanging out there, and I save money and buy a motorcycle. So I bought a motorcycle, built it, and painted it there. And so then he needed some help doing other things, and do body work. So I started doing body work. So I go, okay, hey, somebody made some money. One week I made like $250 in 1970. That was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was a going wage at the time.
Yeah, it was cash. I was like, well, all right, that's pretty good. Anyway, so he finally decided after a few months that, hey, guys, this is not going to work. He goes, I'm not going to pay you cash anymore. So either you start your own business or else I'm not going to pay you anymore. That's it, period. So I go, wow, do I really want to do this? Oh, what the heck,
Now, when you say you start your own business, how would you mean like renting the other half of the shop type of thing?
Yes,
Or?
exactly.
Okay.
So I started renting half the shop. Started up with a little checkbook I stuck in my back pocket. Got a business license and a fictitious name statement. It's history.
You were how old then?
22.
22.
Wow.
You've been doing it ever since.
Ever since.
And now you got 2 shops.
2 shops.
Wow.
I have it's a family business. I have 4 daughters. Of course, my first ones were twins, and they came about when I was in business about 4 years, and so that made me even have to work harder, And so then had a couple more, so I have 4 daughters, and I have them all working for me right now. I got 2 in each shop, and
do you pay them? No, I'm
yeah. I can't get either that or get your own business.
Yeah,
right?
get your own business. Careful, they might listen. They might take that.
You can't get away with that anymore.
Crank call.
See, here's the thing. and obviously I don't turn the show into a whole political thing, but we got all this thing now. They're trying to get minimum wage raised again and all this other stuff.
Right.
And like you say, you don't see those opportunities anymore. You know, if you wouldn't have had that, then if you would have had to, somebody would have had to pay you a minimum wage of $10 an hour or whatever it was.
Right.
You'd probably
well, I mean, I had a few kids come by, and they want to say, I don't care, I just want to work. You know, they're out of high school.
They want to learn something. They want to do something.
I want to work. I go, sorry, I can't. You know, because I have to pay you to be there. And I had, you know, this is the dangers of the business, you know, and then I got to put you on workers' comp. And so that means I need to pay you to put you on workers' comp. So it's just,
Plus
sorry.
They're going to make some mistakes while they're learning.
Right.
You're going to have to pay for those mistakes while they're learning.
Sure.
People don't take that into consideration.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, that's, I mean, that happens with all employees, but they learn, you know, and I did for the last, well, they used to have an ROP in Whittier. In fact, it was over in Sierra. They actually had a body shop there with a spray booth and everything, you know. And so I was on their advisory council, and I hired probably 5 or 6 people out of there, kids out of there. So I'd get the cream of the crop from the group and bring them in. So I had, in fact, there's one of them that has his own business in Long Beach.
Wow, there you go.
Wow, that's great.
So you were his coach.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 guys that work for me that have their own businesses.
Good. That's something that's, you know, when you get that player that comes back, you got a player that appreciates they learned something that he went at. And Greg's a pretty generous guy. You're active in the Whittier Chamber, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned a service club the other day.
Lions Club.
Lions
I'm in
Club.
Lions Club, yes.
And you were donating to what, Kiwanis or something? You mentioned you did.
No,
something
I'm also on the How House board, which that's a rehabilitation house. So they have 3 little houses over off of Victoria and Whittier,
Okay.
and they do, you know, they get guys with drug problems that just got out of jail, and they give them that second step, you know, to get going.
Does that step at some point maybe come in to work with you?
Is that like a halfway house or something?
Yeah, I guess you call it that.
Yeah, they should call it that, but they you know, they don't use those terms.
I don't know if that's
anymore.
politically correct anymore.
No. So, you know,
what's wrong with that? You know,
I just got involved in it because I've had a few friends that die of drugs, and you know, I know it's a problem, and so I figured I'd lend a hand. I had my 40th anniversary. It's been 3 years ago. I've been in business now 43 years.
43 years.
And so for that, I got a car from Community Honda. It built the car, and everybody in the neighborhood, all the different people, I had Frank's Auto Upholstery, and I had Rick's Auto Electric, and all my vendors have them work on it, and then we repainted it, fixed it up, and raffled it off for the How House to get some money.
Hey, there you go.
And so we ended up getting $6,000 for it, and helped them out with that. And I did it at my 40th anniversary when we picked the ticket, and it was fun, and it was appreciated.
It's like Pimp My Ride.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, we're sure glad that you're willing to help us out sponsoring the show here. Really totally by surprise. I was actually pitching another guy who I felt, you know, his business would be good for the parents. The kids, if the kid doesn't get the scholarship, they could be earning something else. And he's, well, I don't know if I want that audio. You know, I guess he's too elite. He's an elite team now. But, you know, Greg said, Mike, what do you need? I said, here's what I need. He says, I'm in.
Yeah.
So
I also have a new a thing that I started a few years ago, and I'm going to bring it back up and push it a little bit harder. I offer to all the schools or anybody that has a car, you know, if you come into my shop, you bring a car in and it's more than $750, I'll give a $100 check to any charity or school or sports program.
So we got Wreck Your Car for Causes.
That's right.
We're gonna have a demolition derby or something,
Yeah,
you know.
there you go.
Okay.
And so, you know, I mean,
Can I put that on my website, Greg?
Yes, you can.
I'll put that out there. I like that, because let's face it, in Southern California, we got accidents going on out here. So
I'll say.
Nice little referral. I like that. That'll build them up.
Exactly.
I know a guy in ROP. I don't know if you know Dennis Dennehy.
I don't think so.
He worked. I think he works at El Camino, and he does. I know they keep cutting it every year. He's telling me how much they're cutting back and stuff like that. But he's doing a lot of stuff trying to get the kids jobs, and it's getting tough today. So
yes, it is.
We need to have opportunities for the kids. We need to be able to teach them, and sports gives a good door. And at some point, they may choose, like you say, not to do it anymore.
Right.
What are they going to do? Are they going to hang around and do nothing? And we sort of take away their work opportunities more and more.
Right.
Some of these people say, well, why can't you pay them? I think Greg's sort of like me. If I had the money, I'd love to give him a whole lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a limited supply. We can't print it like the government does, right?
That's right, exactly.
Well, that's why we play the lotto every week.
Let's play the lotto every week.
We've been trying.
See, here's when you're not an athlete and your leg cramps up when you bend it the wrong way. Oh, I learned that lesson. So, but anyway, let's keep that going. Greg, what's your phone number if they want to?
It's 562-789-1300. That's for my Whittier shop. And then if you're closer to Santa Fe Springs, you'd like to go there, it's 562-946-5400.
Greg, your shops are a mile apart.
I know.
But isn't that funny today? We got Starbucks on every corner. Why not a?
Well, that means he was too busy at one. He opened another one.
He had opened another
Exactly.
The guy does good work. I've heard nothing but good stuff, and so you can't go wrong. And now you got that. If your car's tough, make sure you bring it to Greg. Mention your school. Mention your program. You got a fundraiser here.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Take advantage of that.
Make sure you do that.
So super.
I'm going to get some flyers out too. So
okay, Alex, did you learn anything today?
I sure did. I learned a couple of things.
You didn't nail me on no acronyms today, so
no acronyms, but a metaphor.
Okay.
The metaphor of if you get cut off a team, doesn't mean you're not good at something. So you definitely can be good at something, and Greg has proven that today.
Thank you, guys.
It just reminded me of a saying that I haven't heard in so long that's almost disappeared. If at first you don't succeed, try again. I haven't heard that in ages. I used to hear it all the time.
Yeah. Even in cartoons and stuff.
Have we given up on trying again? Have we failed?
I haven't. I wake up every day, man. There's a bunch of stuff happening in the background. I wake up every day thinking, man, I'm going to go out there and get it again.
Greg wakes up every day, takes a picture of the sun coming out. Either that or he's photoshopping to save blood.
I'm starting to look forward to that, actually. I'm looking forward to that every morning.
All right. Make sure you tune in next week, Kids in Sports on the Rant Radio Network. Make sure you turn into Alex's show tomorrow at what time, Alex?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. And we'll see y'all next week. Teach first, win later. Have a great week.